drives that could have been touchdowns. Those killed us. Come out in the second half, you can't give them a kick or return. You can't allow those guys to answer with a nice drive by our offense and then fumble the ball in their territory. And then those guys were able to get the ball and really go down and score on us at will at that point. Kind of took it away from us, and we lost the football game. With that, open up questions.
You had been feeling so good about the way this team was holding together. Does that second half change the way you feel about it?
No, that was within the confines of the game. You know, the kickoff return was a backbreaker. The fumble was a backbreaker. Those things happen back to back. In combination of those things, that's a game-like thing. That's a individual moment, a one-game type of thing. These guys will come back ready to fight on Thursday. Couldn't be nothing better than a quick week, short week, ready to deal.
How at this point can you fix the special teams problems?
You know, we got to go figure it out. We got to watch it. We got to put more people out there, change it up. Who's going, who's running down, who's covering, who's doing all the things that we asked those guys to do. You can't give up a block field goal. You can't do any of those things. So it's not just one person to point at. It's just not one thing to point at. You got to go figure it out and look at it on tape and try to come up with some answers.
Defensively, the way they moved the ball in the second half, were those breakdowns by y'all, or do you feel like your defense just sort of got overwhelmed considering the special teams and the offense?
You know, they did a nice job. You know, they forced us into the situation of the two-score game, and you got to play some man, and those guys did a nice job of beating man coverage. They were able to run away from a couple plays, made a couple plays down there in the stretch. They were able to run the football really well. There's always going to be some correctable things on tape that we'll go back and look at tonight. I got the quick week, so we'll look at it all tonight. We'll get it corrected tonight. We'll be able to move on pretty quickly tomorrow because we got to go get ready for Tampa.
Coach, you spoke about a quick week. I was going to ask you, what did you see that you can remember right now that you can take into Tampa on Thursday?
From this game? From this game. Yeah, you know, you can't give up back-breaking plays that allow your team to self-destruct when you're playing a really tight football game like that. That first half, you know, that was what the team should look like. You know, if you can find a way to not to have those penalties, you score some of those touchdowns, you're in plus territory. You got a great opportunity to win this football game or at least give yourself a chance to win a football game. And when you come out in the second half and you give it the kickoff return, you're able to turn the football over, you give yourself no chance.
Coach, you talked about, you know, some of those momentum shifting plays that happen, you know, the kickoff return and the fumble. As a coach, when you're seeing that and you're recognizing that, is there anything you can do? Is there like a call you can make? Is there something you can say, like where you sense the shift and you can try to get it back into your favor?
There's no magic call. You know, you got to go out there and play. The guys got to go back there and recapture the moment. And somebody's got to go make a play, whether it's on defense, whether it's on special teams, or whether it's on offense. You know, somebody's got to go make a game-changing play, and that didn't happen. You know, those guys went out and made plays on us, and, you know, hats off to the Seahawks.
End of the first half, under 2 minutes to go, it looked like Darnell reestablished himself when he caught what appeared to be a touchdown, would have given you guys momentum going in the half. Yep. It wasn't reviewed. Do you have an explanation why? Should it have been reviewed by the NFL? Because it did appear he did come back and play.
I don't know that, Zach. I do know I gave my explanation. My explanation was I thought it should have been a call on the play, potentially. If you get the call on the play, you can reestablish yourself, catch the ball, should have been a touchdown. They explained to me, doesn't see it that way, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's not a touchdown. It is what it is. You go with what the official said at that moment. We'll figure out what the right decision was moving forward.
Do you feel it was a momentum-turning play?
No, the momentum-turning play was the kickoff return out of the half. You know, I felt great about what was happening up until that point. You know, you always want to have those extra points, have those extra things, those extra moments, but that wasn't the case.
You had been hesitant to sort of do anything dramatically different given so many close losses. Does a loss like this change your approach? Do you feel like you need to do something to change your approach in some dramatic fashion?
You always look at yourself first. You know, we always look at each other inward first, and I always do that every single game. You know, it's like the dramatic things that you guys are looking for. I don't know what those things are, but you always got to look inward. You always got to figure out what's best for the football team and try to figure out a way to win this football game. And the things that we had sought out to try to win this football game, we did not get accomplished. We had to get turnovers on defense. We had to maintain the ball, get to stay on track, which we're not able to do. And on special teams, we had to make it more about us, and we did not do any of those things. So when those things happen, the game got out of hand.
Coach, third down offense, again, was a bit of a struggle at this point, or today. What can you do at this point in the season?
You got to make a catch. You know, when Kirk puts it in position for a guy to make a catch on third down, you got to make those catches. You know, we had a couple miss-ops from a number of people. Had a couple really good looks at it. You know, obviously they made some plays as well on their defense. a couple plays that they made as well. But when you have an opportunity to move the chains and really get it going, you got to get those things going, and particularly on the 3rd and 1. We weren't on 4th down, but you got to be able to move the chains that way. You got to be able to do those things. And then some of those second half 3rd downs are kind of ridiculous, the situation that we put ourselves in, and you can't allow those things to happen.
Raheem, just to clarify on the Mooney play, when you say you thought there should have been a call, you thought there should have been a call on the defender, either a PI or a illegal contact?
Call it whatever you want. Illegal contact, you call it a PI, at that moment. And then that play is going to be reviewed. All those things will happen, and we can actually have the conversation on what it should have been or what it could have been.
Hey, Raheem, this clinches the 8th consecutive losing season for the Falcons. And I know this predated your era, but do you have a message to the fan base that has endured one losing season after another?
Our fan base deserves a winner, and the only thing we can do is try to find a way to go win this Thursday football game. You can't make any promise that you can't keep at this moment. The only thing you can do is try to give them the best efforts you can give them potentially on Thursday night.
The 4th and 2, 4th and 1, you were down, I think it's 18, maybe you kicked the field goal instead of going for it.
Yes, you like to kick the field goal there. Obviously, you got a couple different choices there. You can try to go for it and get it, pick it up, get the score. You can absolutely kick the field goal, go down there, get a quick stop, get the ball back, and then you're right back in the game. Obviously, when you don't make the stop after the field goal kick, it doesn't matter what you did there. But trying to keep that thing a game, you want to kick it. You make it a 2-possession game. A 2-score game. You go out there and get a quick stop. Start of the 4th quarter. You got a chance to go out there and really win that football game.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Difficult to stand here after a loss. Disappointing to not, have a better second half and be in the game there at the end. And so, we find ourselves in a similar spot where we have to, go back and, talk about it, improve, correct, and on a week where we don't have much time, try to put a better product on the field this coming Thursday night. And that's where we find ourselves. And take any questions you have.
Kirk, I asked Coach Morris the same thing. It's a short week, so what did you see today that you can kind of take into Tampa and probably use for the better?
Yeah, I'd have a better answer for you tomorrow after watching the film. I think you're always reminded of just how it's a 4-quarter game, and you have to keep playing, and you never know which play is going to be the play that can make the difference. And so you just have to play with that sense of urgency at all times. And today it got away from us.
Raheem thought the second half kickoff return for a touchdown was kind of a backbreaker. Did it feel that way on the field to y'all?
What I'll say is pro football for me has always been a test of kind of withstanding those types of moments, whether they're your own mistakes or a different phase of football that you may not have as much control over. So I've always kind of taken pride in saying, who cares? Like, we got to find our way back. And that's how you have comebacks, and that's how you have rallies. And so I hear what he's saying, and certainly in a team sport, there are moments where you say, that wasn't ideal. But you also feel like you got to play your way back from that. And you take pride in that, too, as a quarterback of how do we respond.
Was it discouraging in that case, in that sense, that y'all couldn't do that on sort of any of the 3 phases?
Well, I think the disappointment standing before you now is not delivering, not coming through. Whether it's winning 9-6 or 50-51 or whatever it may be, you want to deliver one way or another. And so knowing that standing here we didn't is what hurts.
The interceptions, do you feel like those were over-aggressive throws that maybe couldn't fit into the spots you thought you could, and the ball gets tipped up, or was there a theme there?
Yeah, I think the first one, Kyle did a good job of kind of trying to give me a quick surface to throw, and I tried to plug it on him, and the DB, drove on it, and the ball got tipped up in the air, and it goes right to the other DB. And so, in hindsight, if I could do it over again, and knowing what I know now, I'd probably try to feel that corner driving it and progress backside. And then the second one, check to the screen. They kind of read out into the screen, and it was a bang-bang play there that, again, gets tipped up in the air, and they come away with it.
Kirk, when you guys are having a season like this, is there anything that you can say
or anybody on the team could say to kind of keep people motivated the rest of the way?
I think saying things has merit. I think doing things is probably more merit. And so it's more about, how you practice, how you prepare, how you play on Thursday night is really what it comes down to. If words need to be said or you feel it might make a difference or move the needle, certainly we try to do that. But I think also just your habits, your actions, your attitude, your approach also is very important.
From an outsider's point of view, it seems like you guys have kind of a mellow team, so to speak. I guess that can be a positive. But do you think that at this point that you need somebody to, for want of a better term, pick up a chair and throw it across the room, kind of wake everybody up?
Could be. We were doing, we could be. It's hard to say.
Kirk, you were talking about, how pro football is about withstanding those things like that kickoff return, second half. Does it feel like you guys have kind of struggled this season withstanding those things? Because it seems like every game you can kind of point to one or two turning points where they punch y'all in the mouth and you were not able to punch back.
In the games where that's happened, you would say, hey, it's happened a couple of times. I can also probably point to some games that came down to final drives and answers. I think of Berlin where, we kind of have this drive that we go down and think that may have won the game, and then it doesn't. And so you kind of punch, counterpunch, punch, counterpunch. That's pro football, and it kind of comes down to who's able to throw the last punch with the clock. But some games we've been able to do that, and some games we've fought hard and counterpunched hard, and it just didn't come down at the end to the final punch being the one that was able to be the knockout.
One of the punches you appeared to throw was at the end of the first half when Mooney looked like he was shoved out, came back to establish himself. Was that deflating when it appeared to go one way and then the league ruled the other way?
You try not to let anything deflate you. You try not to let anything get you too up either. You just try to keep playing, play steady. Knowing there was so much football left in the second half, you just try to keep playing and believe that if you do that, that you can be there at the end. But you look back at the end of the game and you certainly say, that would have been a nice one to have there, and just didn't go our way. Okay.
Would you be the guy to throw the chair across the room?
I don't know about chair throwing, but he's got me thinking a little bit. I've given some speeches in my day and done some pregame chants and that kind of a thing, and did it last year. And it has its place. It can also be forced, and it can be really cringe. And so you got to have emotional intelligence to know when it works and when it doesn't, and you got to read the room a little bit. But I understand what he's saying. He has a point, and there's moments where it matters.